of you who don't know me, my name's Beth Ann, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Dan Forest's Goodnight Dear Heart, and how I would prepare this for a rehearsal, how I prepare it for a performance. I've had to rehearse and perform this piece a number of times, so I sort of have some insight into how you can get this piece ready. So starting off, in this piece in particular, we say the phrase, "Goodnight, dear heart," many times. And this is kind of a tricky phrase, so there's a number of pitfalls that I fall into, and I know a lot of other people fall into. So first thing, the vowel for the word good is good, good night. And when you go to sing it, or at least when I go to sing it, I want to sing good night, right? That's my tendency, is to make it kind of an oo vowel, but we don't want it to be an oo vowel. It's not, you don't say good night to someone, you say good night. So we want it to be just the bland old good. So make sure you're saying good night. And then that next word, night, is a diphthong. So we have night. We want to make sure you're staying on the first vowel of those two, on not, and to make it nice and tall. So you sing good night, dear heart, right? And same with dear and heart. We don't want to let the R's get into those words too soon. We don't want dear heart, right? Good night, dear heart, okay? So that's just something to look out for, because you sing that phrase so many times. The next thing I would say to think about is in this second verse, when there are a number of places where the altos have extra words or extra notes, those sorts of things that the other parts don't have. So for example, when you have shine kindly here, you really want to bring that out. And that obviously, goes for any sort of moving note. When you have, looking back at the first page, you sing, actually it's on this, in the second verse as well, you have light, right? We have those moving notes in light. And you really want to bring all of these moving notes out, but you don't want to bring them out by making the sound heavy. So you don't want it to be shine kindly here. It's not coming from your throat. It's going to be sort of an emphasis that's caused by a change in tone. So you're going to want the sound to be really forward and in the mask. So it's shine kindly here, not shine kindly here. We don't want it coming from your throat, but it could be having to do with placement. So another thing to look at is breathing. One of the biggest places that I have trouble breathing is at the very, very end, where in measure 50, in measure 50, we have a longer version of good night. So just make sure that somewhere prior to that long night that you have, because you want that to be really strong, especially if you are an alto 1 and you have that moving note that goes up right to the B. So make sure you tank up somewhere before, at an appropriate place where it's okay to breathe. Do some stagger sort of breathing there. And so also looking at this last page, I would also say that it's super important to make sure that the oo section does not feel pedantic and boring, because it's the same chords that we've heard before. We've heard the same sort of harmonic progression in the previous verses, but now we're just on oo. So we don't have any words. We can't do anything with that. But I think you need to sing your oos like you are singing words. So create some story in your head of what's happening during this oo section, so that way you're not singing ooh, but so that there's motion in your oos and they're more exciting. For example, right? That's a little more interesting to listen to and less plotty, right? So those are the four big things that I would think about while learning, practicing, and performing this piece. So we have thinking about the vowels in the phrase "Good night, dear heart," thinking about moving notes, or when you have different words, and sort of giving them emphasis, but through a change in tone, and not something that comes from the throat that's, sort of pushy and chestier. And then also thinking about breathing and making sure you have enough breath support, but that's, pretty standard. And then the ooh section, making it interesting and making there be some sense of forward motion, some sense of storytelling, even though you don't have text and even though you're singing the same notes that you've sung already. So that's my advice. I hope it's helpful, and I can't wait to hear the final product. All right, thanks.